Hello everybody again. Hope your week is going well and you've had a chance to think about, hey, what do we do as a whole school when we get back to school when it comes to dysregulation and encouraging self-regulation. But like I said in that video, you don't have a lot of choice sometimes, or it might feel like a daunting task to get everybody on the same page, and it usually is, and it's something we have to really dedicate ourselves to. But one thing we do have control over is our classroom. So what are some things we can do as a classroom teacher or any staff member working in the classroom? First of all, if there's more than one staff member working in the classroom, get on the same page. That's super important. Just like parents, you don't want one splitting the other. Never comes out well in the end. So some classroom ideas I have for you are, I always say that self-regulation doesn't really happen internally unless you've experienced being regulated. That means that somebody has put something into place that has kind of given you limits. And as we all know, we really struggle sometimes with some of our kids who have come to us with lesser limits than others, let's just say. So in our classroom, we got to think about, what are my policies and procedures? I want to be a robot. I want to have spontaneous fun. I want to get up and dance. I want it to be loud sometimes. I want it to be a little chaotic sometimes. I'm okay with that. But there are certain things that I'm not going to let go. Let's take a preschool example for a good example. If you come in the morning and you've got your snowsuit and your boots, if you're in the Northeast or you're in the Midwest or in a place where we have snow, you should come in the morning and your boots are lined up in a certain place, your snowsuit is hung up. And you really don't start morning circle until that happens. You can't allow a pile of boots all over the place and snow pants just flung into a corner and expect kids to now sit down and pull themselves together. You've got to have, that is something you can't let go. Where do lunch boxes go? As kids get older, other things, think about your classroom procedures. We're all really good at this, that organizational piece. Where do those folders go when you're done your writing? Folders are not supposed to be flung onto a table and they're all kind of falling off just because we ran right up to the bell and now we have to get to the next thing, because that creates dysregulation. So we've got to stop. If you need to stop 5 minutes early, you stop 5 minutes early. And I know that could be like stepping on that, oh, we got to teach to this time, but you are teaching. Every time you stop 5 minutes early to help kids do something to help them become regulated, you're teaching them and you're helping them with the prerequisites they need for the curriculum. Other ideas I think about in my classroom are voice level. We have many people who adopt a color-coded voice level or a number voice level. It sounds a little strict, but it works, and it works pretty well. I can say to kids, hey guys, this activity right now is kind of like a number 2 voice level. Let's remember what number 2 is, and we've practiced this in our circle and our day, and we've taught this. So you've taught what it is, you give it a name, you reinforce it, and kids actually can appreciate that. Maybe you're using a reset place in your classroom, or a place where kids go sit and think about their behavior when they start to unravel. But when they're sitting in that reset place, they need tools. They need tools. So don't ask kids to sit in a place in the classroom because they're unraveling or becoming dysregulated if they don't know what to do while they're there. See, nobody in the world has ever calmed down simply because someone said calm down. So you can't just send me to my room and say, go figure it out and get yourself back together when you're ready to learn. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Teach me that when I am asked to go there, I'm not in trouble. I'm asked to put in maybe some breathing technique, or maybe I've been taught specific types of techniques on how to get myself back into a better learning zone or learning curve. Things that I write down, things that I look at. Maybe it's a listening center that pulls me back together. Something that gets me to get myself ready to learn, and you've taught me how to do that. So if you're using that center, be really specific about how you're going to use it. If you're a lab teacher or middle high school, lab supplies are a perfect example. Spend the time, not a 15-minute lecture on how we're going to put the Petri dishes away, but just be very consistent about, guys, this is where this goes, this is where that goes, and you coach that, and you end that lab early enough so that it happens every single time, and you're not the one who's scrambling around putting those lab dishes together for the next lab, because that just makes you dysregulated, and we all know that doesn't go well. A dysregulated adult with a dysregulated child is just a recipe for disaster. Things like non-working snack. You know, we are trying to do so many things at once that we sometimes assist our kids in unraveling. And so if we do things in our classroom like snack time, make those non-working. Make those times when kids know, hey, this is where I just get to sit, I get to talk, I get to eat my snack. And then I give them that little warning sign and say, guys, we've got 1 more minute left to snack, and then you're going to have to put your math brains on. And so when you do that, remember, cleaning up, putting these things away, and then think about math. And I'll stop them for 30 seconds and say, silent. It's silent in the classroom right now. And for 30 seconds, just think about math. And then we go into math. See, I'm trying to help them regulate themselves to be ready for the next thing. I also love things like story after cafeteria time, after lunch, after recess. When you come in, that's our time when I read to kids. And you know, when I taught 7th grade, I learned that when I brought them back from their cafeteria, their lunchtime, they would always come in very wound up. And so I started reading to them. And at first I thought, man, these kids are in 7th grade. I'm supposed to teach language arts. I don't have time for this. And they're not going to like it. Well, it turns out they love it. And I think, and when I taught high school, I think they loved it too, when I read to them. And you could see their bodies, you could see their faces, you could see them just calm down enough. And then at the end of whatever chapter, I would say, okay guys, whatever class you're going to next, whether it be physics, whether it be lab, whether it be PE, just get that in your head right now, and let's transition to that next thing. So when you're thinking about your classroom, again, just to kind of go over this, you might not have control over the entire school being on the same page, but what would you do in your classroom? Boots, coats, hats, lockers. If I walk down the hallway and I see lockers all over the place in my middle school and they're unzipped, things are things are hanging out of your lockers, I stop the class and say, guys, let's have a field trip and go out to our lockers and fix those things. Because it's no different than you running out of your house in the morning, and if you've ever done this, which I'll admit I've done it, you've left with 2 different socks or 2 different shoes because you were in a hurry and got dressed in the dark and you kind of thought they looked the same and you didn't realize until you got to school. It happens. Or you took your child's lunch instead of your own lunch because you didn't kind of like put things out where they should have been, and now your whole day is kind of shot. So if you think about it from that perspective, it's the same as our kids. So those little things like that can mean a lot. So if your folders, your lab supplies, your non-working snack, don't create dysregulation. Really put things together to teach what it feels like to be regulated. See you next time. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. I speak and consult on school behavior, and I love to help districts solve some of these problems. See you next time.